Okay, good morning everyone and welcome. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, and I'd also like to pay my respects to elders past and present. My name's Julianne Spark. I'm Software Solutions for Data3 in WA, and a very warm welcome to you all for our Adobe Go Live event this morning. Joining me this morning is the amazing Matt Davis, who's Principal Solutions Consultant for Adobe. We're really lucky to have Matt with us this morning. We also have Sam Miller, who's our Resident Account Executive for not for Data3, but most of the time it's like he's working for Data3. Matt works really closely with Sally Adams, and I know you guys all know Sally really well. Sally's Account Executive for Data3 as well. Moderating this event, we have Caitlin, who works for our marketing team at Data3. So Mr. Matt will be taking us through Adobe Document Cloud in Microsoft, also automation with Power Platform and Creative Cloud. Now we will have Q&A at the end, so please feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we'll run through a Q&A at the end. And also just wanted to let you all know that we will be recording this session so that you can share with colleagues who may have missed it. So I'm going to pass over to you, Matt, to kick us off. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. And today we're going to go on a little bit of a whirlwind journey. As we said before, we got the agenda, we've got an action-packed day. So we're going to cover the two clouds today. We're going to look at some of the value of the document cloud and what you can do in today's day and age, especially in light of the new normal. And we're also going to look at some of the features of Creative Cloud as well. Now, when we talk about Adobe, we talk about our strategy. Our strategy here is really around three key areas: unleashing creativity, the leader in the world's creative tools; accelerating document productivity, and you're going to see a lot of this today, especially in conjunction with Microsoft. And then we also have our Experience Cloud there, which really powers that digital business. So if you've ever been to a website for the top end of town, all the big banks, retailers, they usually run on our platforms. Okay, so today the offerings are Creative Cloud and Document Cloud we're going to focus on today. So let's dive right in. So the first one here is Document Cloud. And the first question anyone ever says is, what on earth is Document Cloud? Well, let me tell you. So Document Cloud is 5 things. It is the desktop apps and mobile apps you know: Acrobat Reader, Acrobat Standard, Acrobat Pro, also the free tools like Adobe Scan. It's also our e-signature service in Adobe Sign. And you're going to see a little bit of these two today. Now we also have document services. Now these are important because these allow for automation. So you're going to see a couple of these today in conjunction with Power Automate. We're going to see how Adobe Sign can work, and we're also going to see how our PDF Services APIs might be able to solve some issues for you. Then later on, you're going to see some of the integrations between Acrobat and Adobe Sign in those environments, and we also have integrations into our Experience platform if you're using any of that kit at the back end. Now, when we talk about experiences, we talk about workflows. And so today I'm going to put a lens on the employee experience. What's the journey look like for somebody? But before we dive into the Microsoft Adobe integrations, let's spend a little bit of time with Acrobat and just show you a couple of little things that might be of use. Now, we think of a journey of a document. You create that document. Once that's created, you probably want to collaborate on that or edit it or do something to the document. You need to garner approvals, send it out, get it all approved, and then you need to execute that document. And then once that document's done, that's not the end of our journey. How do you move the file to a location? How do you notify people? How do you use metadata from these? We're going to look at this throughout our little journey today. But to start off, let's actually start our journey in Acrobat DC. And let's look at a couple of things that we can do across different devices. So here I've got my Beehive stuff in here. And what I want to do is I want to create a PDF from a Word file or something. Now, if you use the Adobe engine, what we can now do is take advantage of what we call liquid mode. So I'm going to flip over here to my computer, my iPad, and I'm going to call up Acrobat Reader on my device. Now, what I've done is I've actually signed in. So I actually signed in as myself. So what I've done now is I've unlocked extra features based on my Acrobat Pro or Acrobat Standard logins. So now I can do extra stuff on my mobile device, in this case, my iPad. I was hoping to show my phone, but it's being a little naughty today. But in this case here, we can go and do some stuff. So the first thing I want to show you is when we create a PDF, what we can do now is we can open something up. Now, on an iPad, this looks okay. It's a standard A4, 20th century style format document. But on a phone, this presents some challenges because things are a lot smaller. So what we can do now is everybody on planet Earth can now use Acrobat liquid mode. So over here, I'm going to click on the liquid mode icon, which is that little tiny droplet up here in Acrobat Reader. And all of a sudden now, artificial intelligence, our Adobe Sensei platform, is going to reflow all the content. So in this case there, if I was on a phone, this would look like a better demo. But anyway, you get the gist. I'm able to navigate around using bookmarks and stuff like that to get around the long format document. And what I can also do is, because 24% of Australians have a disability, mainly with their eyesight, I can actually make the fonts a lot larger, or make the spacing wider if I'm having difficulties, or I can arrange it left or right, or make the line spacings bigger or smaller. So a lot of ways there we can come through and play ball in this environment using liquid mode, which might be of advantage. Okay, let's close that document down. And let's say, for argument's sake, I'm out and about, and what I want to do here is, not open that one there, but open this one. And what I want to do is I want to do some editing, because Acrobat Pro is an editor. So right now, if I open a document up in the free reader, because I've logged in with my standard or pro credentials, I can now do some other stuff. So over here now, I can now edit on a mobile device. So over here, I'd edit, I can select all that copy, I could retype some new copy in there, and guess what? I can save that particular document, and then it's done. So a nice little way there of using that across those multiple devices. Okay, let's move on a little bit back to Acrobat. Let's show you a couple more things in here. Now, of course, with Acrobat, we can edit in here, we can do lots of things, but one of the big things we need to do today is look at security, secure things up. So if I go over here to my Protect button in Acrobat, what I can do here is I can protect this using a password, which means go to the password to open a document. I can also very easily use some of the redaction tools, remove hidden information. So perhaps before I share this out, I might want to get rid of those comments we've made internally. I might want to get rid of the metadata because it could breach some privacy or IP concerns, or I might want to get rid of underlying scans because I've OCR'd something and I don't want the original document to have unredacted information. So we can remove hidden information there. Or I can actually go through very easily and set security properties to a document. So over here, I would say it's password secure, and then what I can do is restrict editing. So restrict editing and printing is printing allowed, maybe not, or high resolution or low resolution, changes allowed. So I've got a lot of choices here to apply security to a particular document. Or I might want to go one step further and apply Microsoft Azure information protection or certificate security, etc. So some cool stuff there when you look at security around your document. And also too, when we move into things like redaction. So if I'm working on redaction for this tool, in fact, I don't know what redaction is, so I can type out redact and up in the search bar, and I can find the tools that I need. So over here, I can go through and redact text and images quite easily in here, knock out that stuff, looking good. Over here, I'm going to hold down my Command or Shift key, and we'll take a whole block out. Then I can apply those changes, sanitize the document, and now I save a copy of that one, redacted, and now I've redacted that. And we are the gold standard for redaction, so I now know that this tool is ready to go. Okay, let's move on our little journey because we've got a lot to cover today, just to sort of unlock some extra goodness. So let's move on to the world of Adobe and Microsoft. So Adobe and Microsoft have had a partnership for 4.5 years, and it's been a very deep partnership. And what you're about to see now is fruits of that labor. So before we talked about the whole concept, we create something, whether it's from an Acrobat, whether it's from paper, whether it's from an Office doc, or it could be from a line of business system. Then we move through to collaborate, and that can be ad hoc. You know, the old way was we sent through email. These days we're seeing a big shift on Microsoft Teams, or you could use Acrobat to do it too. Or it could be a structured collaboration through SharePoint, Dynamics, other lines of business systems, HR systems, procurement, sales, whatever on that part. And then it comes time after all those approvals to execute that document. So I can send it out now, and you probably want to stay in the environment you're working. So whether I'm working in Salesforce or Dynamics, working in Teams, working in Workday, Aptus, Ariba, it'd be nice to stay in those tools to execute. And then once that's done, what do you do after the fact? Now we can actually automate a lot of this with our APIs. So our document services APIs, which include the PDF services for Acrobat, and courtesy of Adobe Sign for Enterprise, the Adobe Sign API you can use as well. These work really well with Power Apps, and today we're going to look at Power Automate. Okay, let's start our little journey. So when we talk about the partnership, it's across the board. As you can see here, we've got deep integrations across the entire Microsoft portfolio with the entire Adobe portfolio. Now, today we're going to focus on a couple. Let's have a look at signing in Teams, going to look at Power Automate and the Sign API. We're going to look at the new approvals from Microsoft. And we're also going to look at how Acrobat may play a role, and also the PDF Services API, because we might want to do some automation. So let's kick that off. So the first thing is Acrobat goes into Teams. It's a simple add-in. You can add in at the Office 365 or SharePoint tenant level. In fact, all of these you can do easily as an administrator. What that enables me to do is to share a PDF in the Teams environment, to use the Acrobat viewer. Now, why would I want to share a PDF? Well, perhaps you're the custodian of the Word file or the PowerPoint file. You don't want anyone just changing your content. You're in charge of that. But what you want to do is you want to make a copy of it as a PDF, and you want to collect everybody's comments as an auditable trail of how that document came to be. Who changed the legal line? Who changed the starting date? Well, it was James on Thursday the 14th, and Mary said on last Friday, the 22nd, to come through and change that. So you've got a nice auditable trail here. And we'll look at this in motion in just a sec. Also too, for all 12.5 million Teams users, Adobe Sign comes standard as an e-sign request type in Microsoft approvals. So we'll have a bit of a sneak peek at that. And we'll also have a sneak peek of how you can sign in Teams. So let's now take you on a journey or an employee experience of your Teams environment. So let's start our journey. Remember, create, collaborate, execute, and automate are our 4 key things today. So the first one here is I got a comment from my boss, and he's told Megan, would you please get the Global Corp non-disclosure agreement approved internally and sent to Matt Signer as soon as possible. We need him to commence work on Monday, but need the NDA in place first before he comes in. Great, okay. So the first thing I want to do there is I want to share out the document. So if I do a new conversation now, notice on the bottom here, you've got a lot of little icons in here. The first one I'm going to call up is the Adobe Acrobat icon. As mentioned, this is an add-in to Teams. There's also an add-in for OneDrive and SharePoint and other tools. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share out a document. So it could come from a Teams and channels, upload from OneDrive, or upload from my computer. Now on my computer, I've synced down my SharePoint on my Mac. You can also do this on your Windows devices as well, so I can get into all the teams I need to be and share a document. Once that's done in place, what I can then do over here is I can put that into a tile. So as you see here, I'm going to put a little name. Hello team, could you please review this? And this is the experience they would get. So they open it up using the viewer. And what it does with the viewer is we can start to collect people's comments. Plus we can also navigate around. So over here, I can navigate around using the thumbnails. Of course, this is only a 1-pager. This was a long content document like you saw with liquid mode. Then I could scroll through all the bookmarks to see what's going on. Okay, it's time now to comment. So over here, I can start to make some comments over here saying this is approved, etc. Approved with changes, say for argument's sake there, and it could be an @ symbol for Megan, for argument's sake, we can do that. We can go through and post those up. Do some strike throughs in here, perhaps check the copy, let's draw some stuff, etc. You guys know how this sort of goes, very easy to do. But the good news here is we can aggregate everybody's comments to the same PDF. Now, as part of the experience, that PDF lives here in my files in Teams. So as we can see, 47 minutes ago, I uploaded that one, preparation for this document, and we can go through and look at that. So let's think of the next one. So the next one is we've now gone through and we've made all the changes. Let's say we've gone through 4 rounds of revisions, and now it comes time to approve this. So what I can do is I can move now to Microsoft approvals. Now in here, I can do a basic approval. I've already started one because it takes a little bit of time, or you can move to eSign and do an eSend for signature directly from here. So sign into Adobe Sign with your single signing credentials and then bring the service to where you need it. But let's actually approve this first. So here what I've done is I put it into here. We can also get into the PDF. So once again, I can open that PDF up from the approvals to have a bit of a look. It would come up in the browser, and guess what? I can then open it up in the Adobe Document Cloud browser. So I can go in and have a bit of a check out of this, see the comments that might have been in there before I go through and approve this. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. And what I do there is say, great, that's looking even better. Let's close that one down. And what I'm going to do now is come back over here and I'm going to approve the document. So now I've gone through and approved my part. I'm waiting for Alex to go through and approve his. Give it a couple of moments to go through. We get a little green tick, and now our document's ready to send out. So in this particular case here, we've had a bit of a chat about a file. We've then gone through an approval or some collaboration route. We've then gone through an approval, and now comes time to send. So as you saw, I could go back into Microsoft Approvals and send through there, but that's not, because we have the all the add-ins in here. I search for Adobe, there's Sign, there's Acrobat we just used. And so Adobe Sign comes to where you need it inside of Teams. But most people don't work here on the sidebar, they actually work in their Teams team. So in my Teams team, if I move over here, you notice Posts, Files, that's where I had my files kept. But now I've also got Adobe Sign pinned to my channel, because when Adobe, I found Adobe Sign, and what I was able to do very easily, if I could spell Adobe, it'd be even better, is pin Adobe Sign to my channel. And now the Sign service comes to where I need it inside of my Teams environment. Okay, so let's move across. And what we want to do now is we want to send this out. So I'm going to sign first, looking good. We're going to send it to Matt Signer, who needs to sign this before he starts work on Monday. So let's go over here. Notice it's cached it. What's Matt's role? Is he a signer, an approver, acceptor, whatever? We're going to be a signer. Do we want second level authentications? Nah, we'll go with this one. Looking good. Let's choose a message, NDA. Let's personalize that with Matt. And in this case, I'm going to add my files. Once again, I could choose files from my computer. In this case there, it's choosing it from my SharePoint repository as it comes through, or I could use a template. I'm going to use a template here because I've uploaded that one. And let's set a completion deadline for Friday. 24th, looking good. Let's set a reminder every business day. And because we live in a multinational or multilingual country, I could present the UI, not the English contract, but the UI experience in a different language, one of 34. That's it. So let's hit the send button and away it goes. I sign first, Matt's going to sign second, and then we're going to see some magic from Power Automate. Okay, so documents going out. Notice we haven't left Teams. We chatted. We collaborated, we approved, and now we're executing a signed contract. In fact, now I'm the first signer, so I'm going to be signing this in my Teams environment. So moving down here, I'm able to go through and sign. It's remembered my signature. That makes my life a little easier. So as you can see, I could use a system font, I could draw, I could upload an image. In this case, I'm going to use a mouse stylus or pen to do that. Over here, it's picked up my title, making my life a little bit easier. And I'm going to mitigate some risk. So it's looking here for an 8-digit number for a landline or a 9-digit for a mobile phone. Definitely not a 10. No, that's naughty. Go away. That's it then. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to agree to sign digitally. I'm going to click to sign. I agree to sign. And that's one of the 3 tick marks of Australian law. The intent to sign digitally, the integrity of the document, and identities have been provided. Now I can move over to managing my agreements in here as well. So not only have we sent the signature and signed it, but now I can manage my world or my department's world or my whole council's world, whichever way you'd like to slice that. You can see what's in progress. There's the one we just sent out there. I can cancel that. I can send reminders. I can swap out if Matt Siner's the wrong person on there. Or I could send a note to Sam, your account manager, to follow this up tomorrow because I'm away for the next 2 days. I'm having some time off. Now in here you can see templates and web forms because I'm also an administrator, so I can manage all of my world right from within Teams. Now finally it comes time to leave the Teams environment. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move over and we're going to go back to my iPad, and if I can find my QuickTime, that would be even better. 1 second. It's going to here. I think I might have shut that one down. I did. So unfortunately we're getting a good look at me for 1 moment. So over here, let's bring up my iPad again, which I didn't mean to do before. Apologies. iPad, looking good. Give it a couple of moments, 1, 2, 3, and it should pop up. Should being the word, and there we go. Okay, in my email, we received an email from the council. In this case here, Contoso's the branding. Let's have a bit of a look. So we can see branding top and bottom, easy to do. Now, when I hit the review and sign button, all I need is a modern browser on something. So here I've chosen Safari on an iPad. It could be IE, Firefox, Chrome, etc. It's only people who send documents out on behalf of the council require a provision of Adobe Sign for Enterprise. Everybody else on planet Earth just needs a modern browser on something to come into the signing ceremony. So over here, it comes up. Options are, Matt can say, I want to delegate to someone else, if you allow delegation. Or Matt can say, I don't want to sign this, I don't like the terms, so you can rewrite those. But in this case, he's happy. So over here, he's going to be Matt Signer. Over there, looking good. Located here in Melbourne. It's all rocking here today in Melbourne with earthquakes and everything going on today. And over here, I'm going to sign. Once again, it remembers my signature. I could change that. In this case there, I've hit the save button to save my credentials, entering in my title. So I'm going to be the contractor for this particular council. And once again, mitigating some risk. It's looking for my 9-digit phone number. Return, 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 and we are done. Finish. I'm going to agree to sign digitally. But before I do that, I'm going to turn my volume way up because you're going to hear a lot of noise because Power Automate is like a crocodile under the water, waiting for something to happen, waiting to pounce. So as soon as I tap to sign, you're going to hear a lot of noises go off. And that's Power Automate doing what Power Automate does best. Okay, that's gone off. A moment later, here they start to come. You'll hear a few more as we go through. There they go. Lovely. Let's have a look at the document first before we go and see our little mate Power Automate. So over here, I'm going to come into my Gmail. 1 second. One thing I did not set up today, but it's okay. We'll do that one really quickly. Into the Gmail, and that's going to have a look at this particular document we just signed. So here, let's download that one. Looking good. Let's open that one up in here into Acrobat. There it is there. Bingo. There we go. Looking good. And here's my document. Now, the first thing you notice is this blue bar. So the blue bar is what we call a long-term validation bar, an LTV. What this does is two things. Now, we've already agreed to sign digitally. The first I, the intent to sign. The next one here is the identities of the signers are all captured with a unique code at the back end. It's a verification certificate to say the identities are valid and this document is valid. So we can see those. Next, what I want to do then is if I attempt to edit the document, you notice there you can't. It's a locked, password protected. Remember, we looked at password protection in Acrobat at the back end, so you can't get it. If you hack it, blue bar goes red. Never fear, Adobe is here. Go back to SharePoint or Dynamics or whatever, pick up a blue version and put that back in front of the judge. But the real power is in the audit trail, and this shows the history of the document. So it shows you when it was created by Megan. That was her single sign-in login to Adobe Sign, probably also the same single sign from Microsoft and her computer. We can see she signed the document. It was emailed to Matt Signer. Matt Signer then viewed it in this GMT time zone of Victoria on the IP address of this iPad that I had. And then it was finally signed, agreement was complete. So the byproduct here is you have a legally binding document in a court of law in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, now we heard a lot of noise before. So let's go and explore what that noise was. So let's come back into our presentation. And what we want to do here is we want to go through and look at Power Automate and Adobe Sign. So the first thing that would happen was we decided we're going to send a document out. We worked on it in Teams, we approved it, we collaborated, we sent it out for signature, signed it, we managed our team. And then once that document was fully signed by Matt Signer, something happened. Something happened was it stored it in SharePoint. It's going to notify people and we can mine the metadata from the document itself. Pick up sensitive IP that no human should see under the Privacy Act or Freedom of Information Act and put that into a database. Or put another copy into something else like Objective or Trim or something else. Who knows? But the good part here is we sent from Teams. Imagine if you're sending from everywhere throughout the council. I'm sending out from ServiceNow or Nintex, Workday or SAP SuccessFactors, Aptus, Ariba, 80 line of business systems we support, either out of the box or you've got an integration into a custom bespoke, then basically we can capture those two in the same format and also return to the line of business system. So this is a nice way there to aggregate documents that might be sent out across the entire council or councils plural. So let's have a look how that works. So in this case there, this is the workflow we're going to explore. We sent it out and sent and signed. And then once that's done, we picked it up, we copied it, we renamed the file, placed it into SharePoint, and then notified my people in Teams and in Outlook and we can also automate the use of the metadata with connectors and other things there. So let's drill down. Now, the good news is all this is done for you. Microsoft and Adobe have done all the work. So if you search Adobe Sign, all these workflows are already coming up. So let's go and have a look at those now. Now, this will get a little geeky, but it's actually quite a nice thing to see. So if I browse my templates, over here, my templates, I do Adobe Sign. Just tip in here, Adobe Sign, looking good. And what happens now is it's going to find all those templates. We're going to use these two. Save an Adobe Sign completed agreement to a SharePoint library, and also to need to notify my team's channel because something's going on. Cool, let's go have a look at those flows. So the first one here is this one. So we're going to, there is save a completed agreement to a SharePoint library. And today we're cooking with the Adobe Sign API, and that comes just with Adobe Sign for Enterprise. Cooking with the APIs for Office and SharePoint. And this is how it works. And this is where the real power lies. So when an agreement is completely successful, anything in my account, so that's the whole council, or anything in my group, could be my department, it could be agency operations, IT, legal, or it could be any of my agreements because I'm the councillor, or it could be a specific agreement that spans multiple departments which you want to aggregate and do something with through automation, or it could be a custom value, an identifier for a certain form or file type or contract that you want to collect those into a central place and do something with. Now, once that's done, what I've decided to do here is I've actually gone through and mined some metadata. So there's a number of things you can do. I'm going to take the agreement ID because I want to take the agreement name, space, agreement ID, and I want to rename the file. And then I want to place it here in SharePoint, in this SharePoint site address, and I want to place it in this folder inside that site. Shared documents, legal compliance, signed documents, please. Looking good. Now, once that's done, I also need to action this because the contract's done. So guess what? The moment it's signed, I want someone to take action. Now, in Victoria and New South Wales, we're all working from home. So that's important because we're no longer in the council building. So over here, I'm going to email Megan and I'm going to say agreement blah has been signed. Here, Megan, agreement has been signed and he's ready to action. And here's a relative file path back to SharePoint. So the result of that one is, remember in our Teams area, going to posts, I get a notification once the agreement has been created. So my team know that that contract's in flux. So if something happens to me or I'm away, my team know that the contract's out there. We go to the Adobe Sign Manage tab to check it out. Now also too, it also said once it was complete, it notifies us in here as well. It then put a copy into my supplied contracts in here. So as we look through there, we can see 7 minutes ago, there's my document placed in there. And it also emailed Megan. You can see Megan got some there. NDA has been signed. She's got a copy of it there and there's a relative file path. So a nice little way there of automating using Power Automate and the Adobe Sign API. Okay, so that's really cool for documents that are actually, in the new world, we call it. So in new world documents there, anything sent out, we can capture with a workflow. We can put into a SharePoint repository, notify people in Teams and an Outlook, and do something with the data. Maybe put into a SharePoint list or something else. But what about those old contracts? The old paper or the old scans of paper that sit on an old server somewhere. Now they've got a technical debt because you can't search for paper or can't search for an image on a repository. You can't find keywords. You certainly can't copy information or change the information. So wouldn't it be nice if you could take your technical debt from your old documents and migrate them over to your SharePoint repositories and then make them newer? Well, here you can. In fact, here you can do lots of different automation things because what we've done with our PDF services, we've unbolted Acrobat functions into APIs. So you might want to create something. You might want to split some supplied documents into individual pages. You might want to combine multiple documents together when someone submits to run a street party or some sort of other thing that might happen. You might want to OCR, we're going to look at that. Or you might want to protect the document by looking up an array or a database or an Excel file and putting their birth date as the password, putting some private IP to protect the document. Or you might want to delete page 7 out of 4,000 documents or replace pages 7 and 8 on 4,500 documents. Lots of things you can do when you bolt all these together. Now, by bolting together, look at this. So what we do is we have a watched folder on SharePoint. The first thing is we need to create a PDF, because once it's created to a PDF, we're going to upload that to Adobe Sensei server. It's going to OCR the document, bring it back down. We're going to rename that, put that back into SharePoint, and we can even notify people to do that. Now, once again, all the work's been done. All the templates are already built in Adobe in Microsoft Power Automate. So going back to templates, if I do a search here for Adobe PDF services, as we go there, then I can find all these. And there's a ton of them in here, things you can do with all the Power Automate workflows. I'm going to do one, convert newly added files to text searchable PDFs in SharePoint. So let's go have a look at that one. And I'm going to run this to show you how it works. So over here, I'm going to go to convert to text. This time we're cooking with the PDF Service API and SharePoint. Let's have a look at this one. So it says when a file is created in this SharePoint site in this particular folder. So shared documents, it's going to be in my legal compliance, in my PDF Services APIs, old contracts. Once the file's in there, once you do a file name, create the content, low code, no code. I'm a designer, I'm not a programmer, even I can do this. And there's a condition. Are you a PDF? If you're not, make it a PDF. If you already are, bypass this API call. Next, it goes through and uploads it to our API service to OCR it. Adobe Sensei will do the OCRing. And then finally, it's going to bring it down into a different location. This time around, it's going to be into my PDF services, into somewhere else. So let's actually test this out and watch it. Now, before I test it, let's have a look at my PDF. So my PDF here is just an image in a PDF, or it's a Photoshop file of a document. So over here, it's just a rasterized Photoshop document as you look in there, what we've got. So let's make both of those usable. So let's test out this one. Here's one I probably ran this week. Let's have a look, 4 days ago, beautiful. Let's just run that and see a flow in motion. Okay, it's created the file. It's got it. Checking the condition. Are you a PDF? Yes, you are. Go up to the OCR servers, up to Adobe Sensei, bring it back down, delete it from our server, and place it into this SharePoint repository. So let's have a look at the result of that one. The result here was, when I go into my service APIs, there was my old contracts, combination of JPEGs, PDFs. Now when I go into my new contracts, OCRs, there's one a few seconds ago. Let's download that one. Let's take that one we just made, download that, and have a bit of a look at this one. So once again, let's bring it up onto here. There it is, released form number 2. And let's have a look at this contract. Now this one here has been OCR'd. So I do edit PDF on this one. Acrobat's able to go through and recognize all the text in here. We just give it a couple of seconds to do that as it goes through. And what it means now is 2 things. The first part is it's fully editable. So in here, I can go through and copy out information, paste it into somewhere else, or make this document live again that was once paper. Or I can actually go through now and index this. So if I close this down and I do a search, and that can be a search in SharePoint or any line of business system, what you'll do now is you'll see it finds all the content across there. So imagine if you're OCRing large contracts and you're at SharePoint, you're working at home, guess what? Now you can find your old documents and find all your new documents. So that's a little example there of how Document Cloud might work. So really cool when you're doing all your new stuff through Adobe Sign, and really cool if you want to reenact or reinvigorate the files with technical debt and getting into your new world. And that's our little story around Microsoft and Adobe, the creation, collaboration, execution, and automation across the whole experience. And as you saw before, most of our experience was living in teams where we work these days. So a nice little journey there. And if you think about that use cases, there's use cases across the board, whether it be agency operations, counsellors, IT, procurement, etc. Use cases across the board. If you want to know more about this, reach out to your Data3 contacts. Happy to give you more information about that. But that was our little conclusion of Document Cloud for today. Okay, so bringing this home, I'm going to go through some stuff now around Creative Cloud. This is more for the designers. Now, the focal point today is going to be around 2 things here. We're going to be looking at our creative system. Now, someone will ask, what is a creative system? The creative system is what underpins the Creative Cloud. So in Creative Cloud, you've got a lot of services that do things. So you might want to share assets. So we have things like libraries, design systems, asset link if you're going to our AEM DAM, and CC files if you're storing your files in our Acrobat Cloud. Or you might want to have a cloud document that you can collaborate across. Or you might want to review and approve things, whether it be through reviews or our new Workfront platform. Or you might want resources, because in Victoria and New South Wales, we're locked in our house. We can't do a photo shoot. I definitely can't go out and photograph the centre of Melbourne at the moment because I might get arrested out there. But I can actually get pictures of Melbourne there. Or I might want to actually share things through Teams or Slack or G Suite or something of that nature there. So lots of ways we can work. Let's explore a couple of these to show you what's possible. Okay, moving through, let's go into the next one. So a creative system is here to connect your people. So imagine you're working away. It could be you working away in XD and my devs are working in Slack or Jira. So I can actually send files to them and prototypes. Or I could be an InDesign artist and I might need to get approvals and I might need to send to people in Teams. Or I could be a Photoshop person and I might need to share stuff out to put into a Google slide. Well, now I can because we've got those connections to make. Also, too, you want assets to share because you might have the council logo, the colour, you might have the correct legal line there. You might have images that are being cleared to use in your marketing or any outreaches to citizens that you want to do. We can do that as well. So what we've got, first one here is Acrobat Cloud Libraries. And this one here is, it's been out for quite a while, but libraries keep me on brand and me connected to my stuff, whether I'm working from home, working at the office, or on mobile devices. It also keeps my team's assets together. So we all use the correct color. We all use the correct logo, the cleared images, the right fonts, the right paragraph styles, etc. So let's have a little bit of a look at that one. So over here as part of our creative system, I could be working away in InDesign. So here I am in InDesign. What I'm going to do is go Window, and I'm going to go into CC Libraries. And here you can see my library. Over here's all my colors. There's my color themes. There's some text that's actually cleared for legal. There's character styles and paragraph styles. Here's all my images and graphics, etc. As I go down, you can see I've got components from my XD design, patterns, brushes, whether they be vector or pixels. I've got videos in here, I've got motion graphic templates, I've got 3D models, lights, and materials, because we bought Substance as well. And I've also got things like gradients. There's many things you can load into a library. So as I'm working away in some of these areas, I can make sure I'm on brand. So I'm using the right mauve for my headline. In fact, that one doesn't really work. We might try the yellow on there. There's the right graphics. In fact, that's the right style there. I can go through and stylize all my text or whatever I need to do there. We can make sure we do all that. Now, the good thing with a library is I can share that out with people. So I can invite people to this, or I can get a blind link to send to someone who makes my signs for the council or something. So here I can go through and add someone in. So if I do my colleague, Jason, over here, I can add Jason. So let you know that's a demo on this one. And I can say, is he an editor or can he just view? So here I might want to invite him to edit, and away it goes. Now, a library is great because a library connects everybody together. So if I'm working away in Illustrator, I've got my library. If I'm working away in Photoshop, remember before that one, we'll close that one down, there's my library. If I'm working away in XD or in any of my video tools, there's my libraries in there. In fact, what we're going to do now is with libraries, let's move across to one more thing we can do, because I might need some stuff. So a good thing of the library is not only can I search my current library in here, or all libraries, I can also search Adobe Stock. Now, Adobe Stock is our image library in here. There's about 185 million assets you can use. And if you want to talk about getting a license for this, Data3 can help out. Now, over here, I might be looking for the city of Perth. So from within my applications, what I can do is I can surface some stuff out. So it's going to go through and search for Perth, and it finds the top 30 results in here. Now, I might want to put some filters on here. So before I had as vectors only, perhaps I want just photos. So I can change my filter and find the asset type I like. In fact, let's go over to the web where I can also search as well. So over here, I want to do a search for Perth. Over there, haven't been over for quite a while. Looking forward to leaving my house in Victoria and getting to Perth one day. But I can actually do a search in here and find some cool assets. Now, in this particular case, there's Perth. Only got a couple. We've got 31,275 It gets a bit ridiculous. Let's draw the attention to Optus Stadium, where the whole of Australia will be looking on Saturday. So we drill down and we're refining our search, and here we find some magnificent views of the stadium. I'm going to choose a night one, and what I can do now is I can save that to a library, and guess what? Then all my people can use it. My video people, my XD people, people in InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop can all use this asset. It's licensed for the council, so I know I can use this and not be litigated. That's Adobe stock. And lastly, I might want to search for some fonts, because with Creative Cloud, we give you 17,000 fonts to use commercially. Here I am in my libraries. You can see there's my library coming through my desktop app. If I move over here to my apps, see there, go to manage fonts. What I'm able to do is then go to the font library. I then call up Adobe Fonts over here, and there they are. I can search for fonts. So over here, I might want to type something in. You can see there's Magento, a font. Perhaps we'll look at that one. Able to go through, see the particular font, find that, download it, and use it. So a nice way there. If that's quite a funky font, it might look good for a some sort of event, which is a retro. So looking good there. So I go to libraries, and we've got stock assets. We've also got fonts we can use, because these are things people need to do to create. Now let's go and create in one other area. I'm going to go over to Adobe XD. Now Adobe XD is our new platform for screen designs. You hear the term design for screen first? Well, now you can. If you're an InDesign user, Photoshop user, or an Illustrator user, you'll find this like a duck to water. Very, very easy to use, uses the same keyboard shortcuts, pretty much the same concepts, but this is a new tool built for today. So here I can go through and design everything up. So if I'm going into here, there's my designs. Now, once I go through and design things, I might want to use my libraries, as you can see here, to get all the colors and graphics and everything in there that my print colleagues and my video colleagues have got. I can then move over to prototype mode, and I can start to wire up my story. So that one here goes over here. It's going to be a transition between this one. This one here is going to be an auto animate, first card, snap, etc. So we can wire up this whole experience, and then what I can then move to do is test out my user journey. So if I'm looking at that, there's my home screen. Let's test out this journey. So there's my scene, getting started. Let's have a look at the carousel as it moves around, because we've wired it up with auto animate. Let's go back. Perhaps I want to look at this other one over here. So select Yosemite. Basic information, it goes into the project. I like what I'm seeing there, so I'm going to go through and book that. Now, I've also want to use speech in here, because we might be targeting Alexa or Google Home people. So in here, I want to have a bit of a journey. So I'm going to select my thing. I'm going to book for here. Goes through, confirms my experience, and
congratulations. Your spot for the experience is confirmed.
So now I've designed for voice as well, because we're in a new environment. Now I'm really happy with this prototype. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share that out. So I'm going to share this out through here. We'll do a design review, or I could share it with devs and they can do all the redlining and markups and slicing. Makes it really easy. Do a presentation mode, user testing, etc. I can do a design review and share that out. Anyone with a link, or I can keep it private, have anyone invited, and then I can go through and we can actually comment on this. So if I come over to here and then call it up on Creative Cloud, what we can do now is, like our PDF before in Teams, we can garner everybody's comments. So in the screen design here, we'll give it a couple of moments to come up. I can actually capture everybody's comments, evolve my design and my prototype, and then when we're all happy, I can hand it off to my dev teams. They can use Visual Studio Code, I can post it up onto Jira or Slack or any other, or Zeppelin, any things we use there. And as you can see here, you can see the journey. There's my journey, there's all my markups. I can go through and I can resolve those as a checklist, etc. So a nice little platform there to design, to prototype, to test with our testing environment on there, and then finally coming through to share that out and then give it to my dev team. So that's Adobe XD, and that comes with Creative Cloud. No extra there, it just comes with it, looking good. Okay, let's change my lens a little bit more, and let's look at something in video. So I'm working away in Premiere Pro. I've got this wonderful video here, and it's looking really great. Now we've got some ski slopes here, and we're promoting something for possibly not Mount Buller today, because the earthquake came off Mount Buller. But anyway, we've got the skier, but there's a problem. Ski is moving everywhere, but in this case, it's fine, because we're on a standard HD screen. Now what we need to do here is I need to redesign this for my social campaign and also for a LinkedIn campaign. So what we can do here is we can go through and make squares, but we're going to have to track the guy. How about we let Sensei do all the work? So over here, I'm going to select my clip in my timeline. What I'm able to do now is in my timeline, go to sequence, and I'm going to go down here to reframe sequence. In fact, give me one moment. I'm going to reselect that sequence, reframe sequence. Now what happens here is we've got this interface that comes up. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose, I could do it as a square. I'm going to choose a 9x12 vertical, and that's how it creates on that one. Let's see what happens. So the Adobe Sensei technology is going through and making all the adjustments for me. It's adjusted my canvas size here to the particular screen, and now with a bit of magic, it's actually captured him in center frame, as you can see, as we move along. So it's actually helping me make smarter choices and get things done a lot faster. And so now what was a HD 1920 by 1080p presentation is now right for the iPhone or Android. So just something to consider there. You're looking for ways to speed up. And finally, like everything in Adobe, the last demo today is going to be in Photoshop, the last two. So the first one here is I've been given this image, and it's 4:45 on Friday afternoon, and I really want to go home. And my boss says to me, right, I need you to cut that girl out and place her into the park because we're going to be doing an aerobics or spin session in the park over the summer break. And you're thinking, great, this is really difficult. So what I can do now is we can make this easy. So what I can now do is move up to the top here and use select subject. And let's let Adobe Sensei do all the work. So it's going to go through and do all the work there. We can then move into select and mask, and there's my particular mask, and I can then refine the work it's done. Notice it hasn't done a bad job. So let's get my refine edge brush tool, and what I can do is start to paint into some of those wisps. Maybe make my brush a little bit bigger with the brackets. Over here, go through and paint away. Maybe get rid of some of the greens inside there. Notice that the AI technology is understanding what's going on. It goes, you probably want the green, so it's starting to take those out. As such, looking good over here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply that. I'm just going to move the little data 3 screen here and hit OK. And now what I want to do is I want to go through and put a color in. So for this particular case there, let's undo that one for one moment. I'm there. I can go through and pop a color in. In fact, there it is there. Inverse that, and let's take something a bit different. Maybe we'll take something like a red. OK, Option Delete. And as you can see now, deselect, not a bad job. I'm going to tell my boss I work till 10 o'clock on Friday, and so she should give me Monday off. And it's time to go now, home at 4 to 5. So a nice little way of saving some time. And the last one I'm going to show you today, let's have a bit of fun with this one. So I've got a guy here. What I want to do is I want to look at the new addition we got with neural filters. And neural filters are AI-powered little things you can have fun with. So over here, I want to do things like skin smoothing. So if I'm a little bit, I want to look a little better, I can do some skin smoothing, or remove some JPEG artifacts to get rid of that pixely look about it, or do a style transfer, perhaps transfer a particular style filter onto a group of images, or depth blurs, etc., where I want some depth. We've got some super zooms that actually use the zoom technology and like there, but I'm going to use small portrait and I'm going to turn that on. Now over here, all we can do is a couple of things. Now, of course, we're in Perth, so we can probably be happy in Perth. But here I am in Melbourne. So in Melbourne, we're probably a little bit angry and we've probably aged a bit with all the stress we've been having here in Melbourne. So guess what? It's going to happen now. I'm going to do that on my current layer there, give it a moment to catch up. And what I'm able to do then is AI technology is going through and doing that for me. So as you can see, it's going through, it's taken that particular face, uploading it to the AI server, and all of a sudden now you've got the true representation of a Victorian as it stands today. So a quick little thing there. And some other ones too, just an example there. It's also a wait list. So if you're looking for things like face cleanups, if you're looking for face to caricature, yes, we have that coming as well. Pencil artwork, sketch to portraits, these are things that are coming and we're working on as well. So a nice little way there of getting a little bit extra out of your Photoshop. And that's it for me today. So let me come back over to here for 1 second. And what I'm going to do now is just quickly flick through a couple of these. We went through those. A lot of efficiencies by using all that stuff. So if you're using your CC libraries, using stock, using fonts, using InDesign or Photoshop, which is quicker, there's a lot of productivity gains you can have across the board for your designers to either get them home earlier or produce more content, because these days we need more content. You also too, talk to Data3 if you're interested in our Substance 3D. So obviously we bought Substance, our texture company. We also have our new Stager product. So if you're looking for taking 3D models and putting textures on those and liking them, you can talk to us. Now, if you've ever played a video game, 95% of video games are skinned with Substance. If you've ever seen Game of Thrones or Star Wars or any of the superhero movies, they're all done with Substance. So just something to note there. And that's it for me today. Now I'm going to hand back to Data3 and we'll take any questions. But thanks for your time, and hopefully that was informative, even though it was a whirlwind. Cheers.
Absolutely informative, Matt. I don't know how you maintain all that information in that brain of yours, particularly like the integration with Teams and then the fun with Photoshop at the end as well. So we haven't got any questions in the Q&A. No, I can't see any coming through. I don't know if anybody wants to open up and ask any questions before we finish up. No, nothing's coming through. So Sally and the team at Data3 are available to answer any questions or pick up from the information that Matt has shared with us today. We will be sending out the recording for you all to review and digest at your own leisure. But Matt, thank you so much today. It's the information that you share with us is always really valuable. And yeah, really, really happy you're engaging as always. Thank you so much. Okay, I hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday. It is sunny in Perth and I do feel for you over there in Victoria. Hopefully things get better soon, Matt, and to have an earthquake to top it off was pretty interesting.
We're just waiting for the tidal wave.
All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and with that we'll finish and say bye-bye.